Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming out on this dreary afternoon and racing between the drops and the wind and so forth. It's an important subject and an important day for victims to make sure that awareness is spread about the issue of sexual violence and child abuse. It's a very important month because it recognizes both sexual assault and also it's Child Abuse Prevention Month at the same time. So you will be hearing from me a little bit later, and from also Michelle Arranger-Cruz, who's head of the Children's Advocacy Center, and we have other great partners here in this room, as are many of you also partners in this work, and we appreciate your being here. So first of all, and I thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here, Mayor Mitchell, I would like to introduce Mayor Jon Mitchell, who will make the proclamation for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Pam. All right, thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here today. We usually do this out on the steps, but
It's a
little dreary out today. At least it's not snowing, right? Well, thank you for being here today. We have this event every year because we have to. We must. We don't do it as an occasion for empty rhetoric or just to hold a press conference for its own sake. We do it because sensitizing folks to the risks of sexual assault and domestic violence is absolutely necessary because it's a problem that continues to persist. We've made great gains as a society and as a city in preventing and combating domestic violence and sexual assault and holding those accountable for engaging in that kind of conduct, but there is much work to do. And so, the folks who are here today can tell you firsthand, Sylvia Rudman or Joe Cadero, folks who are on the enforcement side of the business, and Michelle Arranger. And for those at the Women's Center, Pam and her team can tell you that it's all very real. And so I'm here, my job is to say, I'm here with you. The city is here with you. And it is unacceptable today, certainly, and certainly ever, for the conduct that these folks see or come in contact with on a regular basis. We can do better as a society, and New Bedford's no different than anywhere else in that regard. But you know what? We should see ourselves, as we do in so many other facets of what we do, as leaders. Let New Bedford lead in combating of domestic violence and sexual assault. Let us be an example for others as a place where women and families can be safe. That's the kind of city that we want to have. That's what we aspire to. And I want to thank everybody who plays a role in this. The Women's Center, certainly Pam and Rebecca and the whole team, the DA's office, Tom Quinn and Sylvia and Michelle at the Children's Advocacy Center for all their work. It is a team effort, as it must be, because that's the way things get done. So I have a proclamation here, which I will not read in detail, but this is a way of marking the Sexual Assault and Child Abuse Awareness Month, again, this year for 2016. And as we said, in 2015 and before, let's make progress. Let's make some decided progress in the next year because we owe it to our families and our city to continue with that effort and in the hope of having the kind of community and the kind of families that we all aspire for in our city. So thank you very much. Thank you, Pam, for making it happen today. She says I'm the only guy who knows how to kiss a woman
in a hat.
Yeah, in a hat. It's all true.
It's a lost art, I think.
I took training for that.
Well, thank your mother for me. It's a lost art. Thank you so much for being here again today, and thank you for your support in ending sexual violence. I'd like to now recognize Captain Joseph Cadero and ask him to step forward and just say a couple of words. I'm free to put him on the spot because he's on our board of directors. So.
I'm going to try to give you a nice hug like that. Probably not as good as the mayor's, but thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. I have to tell you, I am happy and I'm sad to be here. Naturally, I'm sad because the reason that we're here, but I'm very happy because we are here and we're talking about this. And I'd just like to talk real quickly about the history, how this month came to be, and it exemplifies what a small group of people can really do and what kind of impact that we can have, not only locally but globally. I believe this all started in the late 70s in Britain. A group of women got together. They were tired of being harassed at night, and they started protesting. And in the 80s, I came across the pond to the United States, and here we are. It's evolved all the way to this, that across the country, we're having this discussion and dedicating this month to this issue. But New Bedford is no stranger to a group of people coming together, as is evident here by everyone that's here. The Children's Advocacy Center, the Women's Center, the Mayor's Office, the police. This community, and this is the positive side of this, is an incredibly rich community with individuals that will answer the bell and come together. It was a month or so ago, don't hold me to the date, I had the opportunity to go to a legislative breakfast for the Children's Advocacy Center, and I've seen firsthand, and it reminded me when in 2000, 2001, when I was doing this work with Lieutenant Mello in the Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence Unit, real victims. And we get to see the work that you do. And we get to see a young lady, very young lady, take the podium and express herself on how the center helped her turn her life around, her and her mom. It was moving and it was touching. And that's just a glimpse of the kind of work that's going on here. And that's a positive side, and that's why I'm happy here today. And my message also I'd like to give out there real quick is to my fellow brothers and sisters on the New Bedford Police Department. I want to thank them for the work that they do. They're in the trenches every day, and they do an incredible job answering to these very sensitive calls, as all of you do. So I want to thank them. And I also want to give a message to all our victims and our survivors out there. I want you to know that you have an incredible community here together. You have a village that will come together. We will support you. We will help you. Not just the police. We'll be the entryway for you if you want us to be, but you have incredible organizations here that are ready to take the torch. For you to have a shoulder to cry on, counseling to help you through. And that is our asset here in New Bedford. And it's just not on these issues, but all the issues. So my message to you again out there to any victims and survivors, you're not alone. You're not alone. Come forward. We're here to help you. And the Mayor's office has been incredible, and all the city agencies are here for you. An incredible amount of resources for you. So again, thank you to all the agencies, Mayor Mitchell and Pam, of course. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And hopefully in a few years, it would be nice if we don't have to do this anymore. But I suspect we'll still be here. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And I've been here long enough at the Women's Center that I've watched Joe go from Lieutenant Cordero to Captain Cordero, and he's been with us for a very long time. I'm very honored that he serves on our board of directors, and we have had great support from the New Bedford Police, both on the issue of domestic violence and on sexual violence. So we're very appreciative that we do have a community that supports this work. And now I would like to call up someone who I think has been doing this work for a bit of the time that I've been at the Women's Center as well, and even before that, but has a very hard role because she's the one who prosecutes the abusers. She is the chief of the Special Victims Unit and second assistant DA, Sylvia Rudman.
So as said before, we're here for sad reasons and also for happy reasons. As we know, children who are victims of sexual assault, they have their soul wrenched out of them. Not only are they attacked physically, but they're usually attacked emotionally, mentally, in every possible way. The majority of kids that are sexually assaulted by people they love, care, trust, or authority figures. A large majority. We used to think it was stranger danger. That's just not true. But because of research and because of best efforts and a multidisciplinary approach that we have today, where law enforcement, Department of Children and Families, the CAC, the DA's office, victim advocates, therapists, the medical community have come together, and we now are able to provide survivors or victims of sexual assault a community that can surround them in many ways. So we're investigating cases together. We're providing resources together. We're interviewing them as little as possible. We're trying to make this at least a place that they can come to for comfort and for some therapeutic help. And it also enhances our prosecutions. We actually have better results because our victims our survivors, our victims, are whole. They're able to go through the process a whole lot better. Today, we want to talk about prevention, though. And prevention is all about talking about it, learning about it, being trained, making sure we know what we're doing. So I can't encourage people enough who aren't here today. If you don't know about it, there are resources. Reach out to the Children's Advocacy Center, reach out to the DA's offices. We do trainings all the time, whether it be for parents, foster parents, responders, whatever it is. Be informed. That's number one. Number two is, if you suspect any kind of abuse of a child, don't hesitate. You need to file with the Department of Children and Families. It's a suspicion. You don't have to be sure. You don't have to worry about somebody's guilt. You just need to protect that child. They rely on us. We are the adults. They can't protect themselves. So please file if you have a suspicion. That's number two. And number three is, let the professionals do their work. We know how to do our jobs. We're trained. Don't interview a child. Don't put them through the process. Reach out. So thank you all for coming here. It's in commemoration of all those who have shown the resiliency to come forward, and we commend them. Thank you.
And we are very fortunate. As you heard, Sylvia's title is Chief of the Special Victims Unit, and we do have a DA in Tom Quinn and a wonderful Special Victims Unit Chief in Sylvia Rudman that focus on the victims. I mean, they are there to get justice for the victims, and they are there to prosecute the abusers, but they never lose track of the fact that the victims need help and make sure that they work with the partners in the community so that they get the resources that they need. And that's a great focus to have. And it's not true of every DA across the country. And we're very fortunate in our team that we have right here on the South Coast. I'm going to flip a couple of things on the agenda right now because I'd like to, because I want to keep the power of what Sylvia said about file. So I'm going to next ask Lucy Caniel from the who's the New Bedford Area Director of the Department of Children and Families, they're the ones who care for children, who make sure that children are safe. And I think she's going to tell you something more about the file. Please come up, Lucy.
Good afternoon. I want to start by thanking the Women's Center and the CAC for hosting this event. Certainly, it is a very concerning, and there is no shortage of abuse and neglect in this area. The department receives between 350 and 400 phone calls a month alleging neglect and physical abuse of children. We are thankful for the partnership that we have with the Children's Advocacy Center, the DA's office, and the New Bedford Police Department that respond to emergencies with us at all times, where we interview children one time and don't put them through extensive interviews. We're thankful for the City of New Bedford and for the mayor for hosting this event as well, and for acknowledging that child abuse is certainly a concern in our area, that we all need to work together. It does take a community, and thank you very much.
Those are some interesting statistics in terms of the number of reports that they get, and they follow up on each and every one. So as Sylvia said, and as Lucy said, when you're in doubt, file. They'll sort it out. They'll find out if that child is in danger. But you know what? Your sixth sense often is the thing that you need to listen to. If you think something's wrong, there very well might be. And let's not forget, this is the souls of our children at stake. When you're talking about child sexual abuse, it is the lives of our young people at stake. When you're talking about someone who's in college or in high school that may have been abused, these are events that can affect them for the rest of their lives. So the sooner they get help and a path towards healing, the better. So don't doubt yourself. Just go ahead and pick up the phone and make that call. And now I'd like to call up Michelle Laranger, who has been the director of the Children's Advocacy Center since its inception 6 years ago? 9 years ago. My, how time flies when you're doing this kind of work. I can't believe it's really 9. That means I'm getting old, I guess. But Michelle has been there from the beginning, and as I said, it was a big task. She started out with a really big task to get the place going and get it moving, and it really is the most amazing place today. If you haven't had a chance to see the Children's Advocacy Center in action, well, first of all, you're probably lucky. But when you need it for a child in your life, you will be very glad to know that they are there. Michelle?
Thank you, Pamela, Mayor Mitchell, Lucy, Sylvia. While the work that we do is daunting, I have the pleasure as the leader of the Children's Advocacy Center to work with an amazing staff, but with amazing partners in the community. None of us can do this alone. It takes a village, it takes teamwork, and it's really important every single year we stand in solidarity. You know, it's kind of preaching to the choir here in the room, but we need this for each other to rejuvenate ourselves, to know that we have the support from the various cities and towns that we all work in. And our partnership with New Bedford is long-standing, steadfast, and strong. It is our number 2 consumer for our first years when we opened our doors. New Bedford was our highest user. And they're, you know, New Bedford and Fall River toggle. It's not the competition you really want to win, but it just speaks to the work that we're doing in the New Bedford community. And to build on what Sylvia was saying, we've really become passionate when we've seen our numbers go up at the Children's Advocacy Center each and every year. Since our founding year, which was 2007 until the close of last fiscal year, we've had an 85% increase in the number of cases we're seeing. I think that's a testament to the model, that it works. It's based on a national best practice model. And I also think that it's because we're beginning to scratch the surface around prevention. Education and awareness are the first steps to prevention. And as we know with any good primary prevention program, that when you're talking about it and you're getting the word out, that you're going to see your numbers increase, reach the top of that bell-shaped curve before they come down. So I really want to talk about child abuse prevention, sexual assault, violence prevention. It's far too prevalent, and April is a huge month for us because we are the child sexual assault provider. We coordinate the investigation, but most importantly, we're providing treatment and services and advocacy and hope. We're providing hope. So I often quote Ken Hartnett, who was the beloved editor of the Standard Times some years ago, and he named an article, or wrote an article in the Standard Times saying, "The good news, it's here. The bad news, it's needed." And I thought that really depicts well the Children's Advocacy Center, that for 30 years, this national best practice model has existed, and it's unfortunate that we're needed, but let's talk about how to put us out of business, and that is prevention. I want to encourage listeners to go to the website. It's a wealth of information about child sexual abuse prevention. That website is cacofbc.org. But I also want to leave a message to share that the job of child safety is that of an adult. Teaching children how to keep themselves safe from abuse is important for them to learn, but there's no substitute for the responsibility that we have as adults. We think nothing about teaching a child to put their bike helmet on or hold our hands when they're crossing a street, and we've normalized those conversations. But we're not so good and steadfast and consistent with teaching them about personal body safety. And we know when that personal body safety violation occurs, it can have lifelong impact. So let's remember that child abuse is preventable, that people need to learn the facts and the realities of child sexual abuse. Be informed, educate yourself, and please help us all here, these wonderful partners who are doing this work every day, be part of the solution. Thank you so much.
Well, I guess because we're starting baseball season that I see myself as the cleanup batter here. The mayor started us off just in a wonderful way by talking about how important it is that we make sure that our community is a safe community. And we can all do that. And as Michelle said, I know that we're preaching to the choir here in the room. Many of you do this work. We know that you do this work, and we're so grateful that you do. But I'm perhaps talking as much more strongly to the people that may view this on cable or hear it on the radio, that we all can do the work. Every one of us can be part of this. The motto for Sexual Assault Awareness Month for the last few years has been, let's talk about it. And the motto before that was no more. So I think we're kind of bringing those two mottos together to say, if we talk about it, there will be no more sexual assault. And we have to talk about it, because if we don't, our children won't. They won't talk to us. If someone has touched them in a way that frightened them, that they don't think was right, they're not sure, they won't talk to us if it's something we don't talk about. So we all have to not be afraid to talk about sexual assault, sexual violence, sexual harassment. We have seen a lot in the national news lately about it, of victims who've come forward after 30 years because they were afraid to talk about it. You know, that's the way that time was. You just went through something like that, you kept it to yourself, but your body didn't keep it to itself. Many of these victims had problems with alcohol, with drugs, with mental health issues, because your body knows and your body feels what happened. And you never do get over it unless you get a path to healing. That's what the Women's Center provides. We provide therapy, we provide services, but we also need to do prevention, or we will be providing therapy and services to the same amount of people into the next millennium. And we don't want to do that. We want, as Captain Cordero said, we want to not have to come out, just maybe all get together because it's a fun thing to do, rather than we need to talk about April as Sexual Assault and Child Abuse Prevention Month, because we're still not doing enough to stop it. We need to do enough, and doing enough is on us to talk about these issues, to make sure children will talk to us. Nobody wants to send a fresh young child, and they are still children when they go off to college, there are children, either male or female, off to college with great feelings about how exciting this is going to be in their lives and how wonderful it is, and they go off fresh-faced and happy, and then they're home on spring break and they're kind of withdrawn, and they're sitting in their room, and they're not talking to anyone, and guess what has happened in the intervening months? And if we don't talk about it, they won't tell us about it, and they won't get the healing that they need to get over it. Because you never quite get over it, but you can overcome it. You can get on with your life, and victims need to know that it's never too late to seek help. It's never too late to be heard. I grew up in an era, the era of those individuals that have come forward recently as victims of sexual assault, where we used to say silence was golden, and that children should be seen and not heard. Baloney. Neither one of those things is true. Silence is not golden. It's almost never is. Silence in domestic violence is deadly. Silence in sexual assault is harmful. So it's not golden at all. We need to talk. We need to not to be afraid to talk. We need to listen to children. Of course they should be heard. They particularly should be heard when they have stories to tell us of someone who has victimized them. We have a motto in the children's, we have a child trauma center at the Women's Center. We get many referrals from the Children's Advocacy Center. And the motto over the door is, we believe children. And we do. We listen to children and we believe them. And we believe young people in college when they tell us that something has happened that has damaged them. So believe victims, listen to them, reach out when you believe that you've seen an incident or you have any doubt at all that there might be some intervention needed, reach out, file, as DCF says, file. Call the Women's Center if you don't know how to go about filing. If you're not sure of how to help the victim, call the Women's Center. Our hotline is 508-999-6636. We also have a website, which is www.thewomencentersc, as in South Coast, because we do cover the whole South Coast, .com. So reach out and get help. Get help for yourselves to know how to help a victim. And by the way, if someone in your family or in your circle of friends or loved ones has been victimized, you can get help as well. We serve both primary victims and secondary victims of sexual and domestic violence. There is help out there, and there is a way to stop this. We hold it all in our hands. We can just speak up, we can speak out, we can talk about it, and there will be no more sexual violence. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please have some refreshments, take some water. I always bring something to read.
Well, yeah.
Into each life, a little rain must fall. And what rains on our cities flows into what we drink. The Arbor Day Foundation invites you to plant trees in your community, so the water that flows into our rivers and streams will be clean and safe. The trees in your town also provide shade and song and beauty, clean air, lower energy costs, and higher property values. They are a source of life and a source of pride. Because when a town shows a commitment to planting and caring for trees, it can become a Tree City USA. Tree City USAs have one thing in common. They value trees and all that they do for us. Visit arborday.org to find out how to plant the right trees in the right place. To support Tree City USA where you live, go to arborday.org, because a little rain must fall.